Hi, Jacob Graham here with Low Cost Computer Repair. I'm here to talk about my beef with Apple and what I think about mobile devices, and to really touch on the difference between Samsung and Apple, or Foxconn, in my opinion. Because really, people don't even really know what they're buying. If you're going to get a generic computer, whether it's an OEM from Dell, don't ever buy an OEM, first of all. Don't ever buy, and I'll tell you why. You might get some cool things like a good recovery partition, maybe a nice warranty, maybe. I doubt that, because any of the custom builds have independent warranties on each piece of hardware I buy, and they're all 3 to 5 years, unlike a 1-year warranty from most OEMs. Even Samsung, you're not getting a very good warranty from them. I would never buy an OEM. I'll get that straight. If you're going to buy an OEM, if you're not me, Mr., make your own computer kind of guy, or you're just looking for a laptop. I mean, when it comes to laptops, we have to buy OEMs. If you're going to buy an OEM, I'd recommend Asus over Samsung. But when it comes to mobile devices, I love Samsung. They built the largest building in the world, which sits in Dubai. They own one of the largest shipping companies in the world, and they have more money than Microsoft, Google, and Apple combined. This is a fact. The reason is, Samsung wasn't always good quality. They used to have a time where their phones were shit, and the owner took a whole bunch of their phones, like the company lead CEO or the owner or whatever, and he smashed them all in front of everybody. The reason he did that was because he really wanted to ensure that nobody was going to create any more crap. Whether that worked or not, you be the judge. Who cares? Point is, Samsung is committed to quality. Sorry, I was just looking out my window. And Apple is not. Apple is committed to charge the highest amount of price, have the cheapest amount of workers, and that make the cheapest amount of quality. Foxconn is not good quality. I don't know why people think that Apple is good quality. I do actually know. I know exactly why. Because you don't get viruses. So as a Mac user, by the way, OS X rocks. Okay, it's the hardware trade just to get the OS X I don't like. I can run OS X in VirtualBox on my PC on my 6-core Athlon, or Phenom now. It's a 6-core Athlons. I don't think we're 6-core, but anyway, I have a AMD Phenom 6-core 1035T, and I run VirtualBox. Inside VirtualBox, I run OS X Snow Leopard. So I have a Hackintosh right here, on a 42-inch sharp Oculus television, 1080, all the works. My computer lights up to the sound of my music. Why would I want an Apple? Not for me. Maybe it's for you. Maybe you like the OS. Maybe you like the support. Maybe you like that stuff. There's good things about Apple. Few and far in between, in my opinion, but they are there. Apple used to be a great company. I think it's interesting too, because we all know Steve Jobs, the late Steve Jobs, and Apple, and Mr. Scully and Pepsi and all of them as one are big on anti-piracy. They're big on not sharing software or source code, and they hate the idea of open source. Who made Apple? Steve Wozniak. He's the one who actually made the first Apple. Huge, doesn't work for Apple anymore. Huge supporter in open source software rather. Huge supporter. Big on the whole Richard Stallman open source philosophy. He's huge on it. Great guy. Nice guy. Love listening to him talk. He's a great talker now. Prior to putting out Apple and Apple's success, he was almost like he had Asperger's syndrome or something. He was very into himself, very shy. Without Steve Jobs, Apple wouldn't have been. Steve Jobs said, hey, let's get this computer out there, let's pump it out, let's go, And that's what Steve Jobs was, a salesman. He didn't even, there's one video where he didn't even know what Kerberos authentication was. If you're not a tech, don't worry about that. But that's so basic. I learned about Kerberos in my A+ class, my first one. They talked about it, and they rebrought it in Network Plus, and the Server Plus, and all the other courses I did in my little community college I went to. It's big Kerberos. And for Steve Jobs not to know what that was when he was talking about how Mac OS X now supported Kerberos, I thought it was completely unintelligent and completely, a great sign that Steve Jobs is an idiot. No, I wouldn't say an idiot. I would say he just is daft when it comes to tech. He doesn't know how to code. Unlike, I don't like Bill Gates either, really. At least he can code. At least he made BASIC. At least he made Windows. Along with Steve Allen, right? So anyway, I'm a Windows guy. You can see that. I'm actually a Linux guy, okay? I am. But I use Windows for the most part because if I get stuck when I'm trying to do something, and I use Windows for my business, because if I ever get stuck, I don't want to go looking through Linux after Linux after Linux forum. You know, I'm only 22. I haven't been using Linux for years like some people. So Windows for me, I've gone to school for being a Windows tech. I've gone to school for Windows Server and all this other stuff. Windows for me just makes sense. You know, I mean, I run Linux on my network and I run BSD on my firewalls. So I'm not afraid of it. It's just for ease of use. If I don't want to scratch my head a million times a day, Windows is for me. You make your own choice. I don't care what you pick. Though, I do want you to notice that you're not getting good hardware. Okay, you're actually getting some of the crappiest hardware from Foxconn possible when you buy an Apple. Okay, I'm guaranteeing you this. I've seen MacBook Airs, like the 2008s were horrible. The whole screen, the whole bezel around the screen would fall apart. The back hinges were cracked. They'd fall apart. You know, it's completely mind-boggling to me why people don't seem to notice that the only reason their Mac has lasted longer than their PC is because they got a virus on their Windows PC. For a Windows tech, that's a reformat. That's an hour or two job, and then a backup of data is another couple hours. It's worth it to pay. If you find the right technicians to fix a Windows computer, shouldn't cost you. Like, I charge $60 to back up your data, everything, and to redo Windows and put an antivirus on it and all that. $60, which may happen. You may have to do this 2 years after you buy your Windows PC. So you paid $60 more and had that inconvenience over. Okay, but you bought a Mac. Okay, so you didn't have that inconvenience, but you paid out the ass for it. Excuse my language, but you did. You paid $4,000 for a dual core system I can build for under $500 and then run OS X, or I can run Linux, something else that doesn't get a virus. It's mind-boggling. Okay, it's a fact that there's more Android devices now. This is my big point. Argue this. There's more Android devices out there than iPhones, sorry. Okay, I have fixed 2 Androids in the last year. I have fixed somewhere in the thousands of iPhones. Okay, now my question is, how come I've only fixed 2 tablets and not a single Android phone? It's not because there's less of them out there. I just told you, and you can look it up too. Go Google it. There is way more Android phones out right now than iPhones. How come I fix more iPhones? Because they're crap. They're meant to break. I mean, to a certain degree, everything has built-in obsolescence. But when you come to work on these every day, and you look at these figures, and you look at what the actual material is, and you touch it, and you feel these screens, you know what you're getting. Like, I couldn't do that with my Samsung. Hell no. Yeah, it was broken a little up here, but I just broke that like nothing. Don't buy iPhone. They're complete garbage, I swear. Like, I'm not just saying this. I'm spending my Sunday afternoon to inform either computer users or power users of the undersides of Apple. Okay? There's nothing you gain from buying Apple. It's worse quality. You get this friendly OS, which isn't that friendly. If you've ever had a long-term Windows user go on a Mac, it's like hell. My wife said it. She went and used a Mac on somebody else's home, and they couldn't even do the basic thing, like typing a Word document was hard as hell. Spaces, to somebody who's never ever used a Mac, is completely confusing. I have to. Oh, there's all this powdered glass everywhere from this iPhone now. That probably wasn't a good idea. But it's true. I mean, you're not getting an easy-to-use computer. If you've never used Spaces, you go to move your mouse into a certain corner, and all the windows just go everywhere. And I mean, sure, I could see that being useful if you were expecting it. But Spaces is different for everyone. It's different. So it's not a computer for anyone to just get on and use. And I mean, the same stuff you can do with Spaces, man, that's been around since before Ubuntu 10.4 with Compass Config and Fluxbox and all those other things that people don't understand how to use, you know, and it's such a shame too, because I mean, Linux is free. It's faster than OS X or Windows. And everybody's just so confused with Linux. I mean, Linux actually makes more sense. There is no A, B, C, D in Linux. I mean, you know how Windows automatically uses the C drive as your first drive? That's because A used to be floppies, and we used to use floppies for hard drives. That's why. But It's confusing as hell. Why is my first drive in my computer C? I mean, it's not confusing to me, but for the average person it is. Linux, guess what? It's disk 0 or SD 0 or dev 0 or dev 1. It starts in a numeric or whatever you want. It makes sense, you know. It's mind-boggling to me. I don't know why you guys are paying thousands of dollars for a Hackintosh or an Apple or whatever the fuck they're calling them these days. It doesn't make any sense to me. They're crap. They have 12-year-old kids that work 35-hour shifts and commit suicide. It's not Apple companies that have nets around the buildings. It's Foxconn. And I will not pay out the ass for shitty hardware. I ask anyone. Foxconn is not a good brand name. Okay? Think whatever you want. You know, I'm open to debate. I don't turn off my head and stop listening when I hear something different from my opinion. I'm open-minded. Leave your responses. Let me know what you think. And, you know, put a reasonable, non-trollish, non-flaming debate in the comments below. And subscribe if you like my videos. And I'll try to keep more coming. I'm just super busy. All right? Thanks a lot. And this has been great.